You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Monday, January 4th, 2021. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are going to be talking about something called the domestic church. Now, the domestic church are the words that our Catholic faith uses to describe the family. Now, it's not just any family, and just because you're related, you happen to be a domestic church. Becoming a domestic church is a decision that a Catholic family makes when they commit to living the way that God created them to live. Now, before we get into all of the explanation of the domestic church, I want you to know two things. Number one, no matter what your family looks like, if both of your parents are Catholic, if you live with both of your parents, if your parents are married and divorced, if your siblings are older or younger, if you don't have any siblings, no matter what, absolutely no matter what exceptions you might be thinking about right now, you are called to be a domestic church as a family. So that's number one. No matter what you might be thinking right now, I am talking about your family. And number two, God does not expect you to be perfect before you embark on building and living in a domestic church. In fact, He wants us to live in a domestic church so that He can work on us and teach us what holiness is and help us along the way. Okay, you promise? You're not going to think that this doesn't apply to you. It applies to everyone, even before they have become perfect. So today is also the feast of a great American saint, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. St. Elizabeth Ann Seton was born just a few years before the American Revolution. She lived in areas like Boston and New York, and she is the first American-born person to be canonized a saint. But Elizabeth Ann Seton was not born Catholic. In fact, she was born Protestant. And when she finally converted to the Catholic faith, after her husband died, after she lost their family business and she was poor and destitute and had many children that she was forced to take care of on her own. But yet God came to her in that time, revealed the truth of the Catholic faith to her, and she converted. And when she did, many of her family members were mortified. They thought Catholicism was ridiculous and full of lies, and many of them never spoke to her again. And yet she knew that this was the truth. Now, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton went on to found the first American congregation of religious for women here in the United States. She founded many schools, and in her short life, she soon became known as Mother Seton. This was partly due to the fact that she was a mother. Before she became a religious sister, she was married and had a large family. And in fact, some of her own daughters joined her religious community. But she also became known as Mother Seton because she was a mother to all. She was a fabulous teacher who genuinely cared for each student that she taught. She also cared for the poor and oftentimes gave all that she had and begged for their needs, putting her needs below them. She was a wonderful mother who modeled herself after our mother that we all share, Mary in heaven. Now, we are going to break down all of the pieces of the domestic church. But the one thing I want you to know today is that each of us inside of a domestic church have a beautiful person to model our lives after. Mothers, we have Mary, the great Mother of God, our Blessed Mother. And just as Elizabeth Ann Seton took on this role and modeled her life after Mary, all mothers, whether you are a mother now or God will call you to be a mother in the future, we are to model our lives after Mary. And yes, we will fall short and it will be hard and we will continue to sin, but we will continue to try. So today, as we start talking about the domestic church and to celebrate this great American saint, I challenge you, Sprouts, to do something simple. I challenge you to pray one Hail Mary specifically for the mothers in your life. These include your mother, your grandmothers, your aunts, your godmothers, anyone that takes on that mothering role for you, maybe even an older sister. But pray for them that they can become more like Mary every single day. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Just one more thing. Our brand new app, the Domestic Church Project app, is available right now. We are enrolling families to go through the Domestic Church Project Boot Camp through January 6th at midnight. So if you would like to be part of this incredible experience that has already transformed families and given them the real blueprint that any family can use to build their domestic church, please join us. You can find more at domesticchurchproject.com. If you missed this enrollment window or this simply wasn't quite the right moment for your family, please know that we will be opening the doors back up for the boot camp right around Ash Wednesday, so you can join us at that time.